The House at its second reading.
I call Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to pick up where the Honourable Annette King left off, actually, because it was an excellent contribution she made. And she talked about local government in this country, sir, and she made the point that local government in New Zealand basically works. It is a part of our society, our nation, our system of government that functions effectively. And I think that any reasonable or objective person would agree with that. Councils, by and large, are close to their communities. Mayors, councillors and council staff are people who are generally motivated by a sense of civic service, of public-mindedness. There's certainly no glamour or wealth to be made from a career in local government. They do what their communities require of them. There are a few egregious examples, and we know that the citizens of Kaipara have been unduly saddled with a debt because of the blowout of cost on the Mangawhai Heads water treatment scheme. But generally, and we know this, sir, from a number of credible studies, local government in this country is run well. It is administered sensibly. Its finances are not out of control. And so I asked this government, and I asked the National Party members on that side of the House, what is it with you people? Why are you messing with a part of our system of government that basically works? What is it that you don't like about local government?
Order.
They don't like democracy.
Sure. Mr. Speaker, what is it with these people? What is it about them that makes them want to stick the boot into local government and put up a bill like this, which is a shallow, populist political attack on an institution in our society that is valued, that serves local communities? And I do have a theory, Mr. Speaker, about why they're doing this. I do have a theory, and I'll seek to sort of draw that out over the next 5 minutes or so. If the National Party members were being honest with the people of New Zealand about why they have brought this bill to the House, why they are making such an unwarranted and unjustified attack on the institution of local government, they would say something like this, sir. They would say, look, we know local government's working fine. Everybody agrees that the finances are well managed. But we know that people out in the public are concerned about their rates. So we are going to cook up a bill, justify it with shonky numbers as a way of somehow trying to say to New Zealanders that we're on your side and we know that you don't like to pay the rates bill. I don't mean you, of course, sir. I mean the members on the national side of the House. But that is utterly dishonest. This bill is based on a lie, and Annette King proved the point by reference to a number of credible reports that have, I think, made the case very persuasively that there is no evidence to back the claim that local government has expanded its mission, its remit, that it's doing more things than it used to before the 2002 legislation came in. There is no evidence, first, that local government is out of control and doing a whole lot of things that it shouldn't be doing. And secondly, there is no evidence that the spread of activities that local government are undertaking has anything to do with the increase in debt. And all of the credible analysis and data in the public domain shows that the reason that debt has increased, there are two reasons actually. One is the infrastructure deficit. That's right, and local councils have been required by central government to address the infrastructure deficit. And secondly, by the number of unfunded mandates that have been imposed on local government by central government. And even the former local government minister, the Honourable Rodney Hyde, had the honesty to admit actually that was the reason for the increase in debt and the increase in council spending. So this bill is based on a lie. Nick Smith has come to this House, he's cooked up a shonky campaign to suggest that councils are out of control, they're charging too much in rates, they're borrowing too much, they're racking up all this debt, and it's because councils are doing all sorts of things that they shouldn't. So it is based on a lie about what the problem is, but it's also based on a lie about the solution. This bill will do nothing to reduce council rates. There is nothing in this bill that will make a difference to the rates bill that goes into the letterboxes of New Zealanders all around this country. It is an utterly dishonest bill. It is shallow populism. And actually, it wouldn't be so bad if they had applied the do no harm test, Mr. Speaker. If this was just, in fact, a shallow piece of electioneering trying to make some kind of rhetorical point, pretending to make a difference and to do something about rates. But actually, it will do some harm. It undermines councils and local government and local democracy around this country. When this bill came to the House, we took one look at it. And on the face of it, it looked that the bill was harmful and that it took away the democratic rights of communities to have a say on amalgamations of local government, sir. And we felt that the narrowing of the purpose of local government and the abolition of what we've come to know as the four well-beings: economic, social, cultural and environmental well-being, replacing them with a narrow definition based on public services and infrastructure, cost-effective infrastructure. We said that those things, on the face of it, didn't look good. But you know what? You go to the Select Committee and you hope that debate and evidence and public submissions, in the fresh light of day, you will look at the bill and give it good scrutiny, and then you will be prepared to revise your view and come back to the House with a more informed perspective. But it was overwhelming that at Select Committee, one submitter after another came to the Select Committee and said, don't do away with the four well-beings. These are the negative consequences for our communities. Don't do it. Council said it unanimously, and dozens and dozens and dozens of other submitters came along. The only people, by and large, who agreed with the government's proposal to narrow the purpose of local government were a handful of organisations who have an entrenched political agenda about small government and reducing the rates. By and large, everybody else said, don't compromise the ability of our elected councils to meet the needs and aspirations of our communities. And that's one of the things that I struggle to understand about the National Party's policy in this area. It is the areas, the rural and provincial councils, that by and large are represented by national MPs, who are most vociferous about the fact that they need the ability and the freedom and the flexibility to respond to their needs of their communities. And I was in Ashburton, sir, talking to the council there about the way that the government is cutting the funding for local roads in that part of the South Island. And they told me they run a couple of medical centres, clinics in Methven and Rakaya, that the council runs that they believe could be jeopardised by the change to the purpose statement of local government. If the local council didn't run those clinics, no one would, and the people of that community, sir, would be far worse off. The government is not prepared to provide those services. It's only willing to mandate local government to do what it wants to do, and it wants to stop local government having the flexibility to respond to the needs of their communities. Mr. Speaker, why do the National Party hate democracy so much? What is it? What are they afraid of? What is going on with the party on that side of the House that every year that I've been in this Parliament, they have come to this House with some kind of attack on the democratic rights of local communities? They denied Aucklanders the right to a referendum over the establishment of the super city in the face of massive public protests. They came here and abolished democracy in Canterbury, and they recently have suspended for several more years democratic elections for Environment Canterbury. We've seen in every single local government bill that has come to the House in the last 4 years, they have wound back the democratic rights of local communities. And the provisions in this bill that take away the right of communities to vote up or down an amalgamation proposal is nothing more and nothing less than an attack on local communities. And it makes it very clear that in spite of John Key's promises that there would be no forced amalgamations, that the agenda of this national government is to force amalgamation through whether communities like it or not. And increasing the number of days that communities have to get a petition together is not going to solve this problem. This bill, sir, is an attack on local government. I don't know why the National Party have such a problem with local communities and local democracy, but they are getting a very bad name.
Called Eugenie Sage.
National